is Alexander Strait, for those of you who do not know me. And I want to welcome all of you guys to the FFL America weekly team agency call. We're going to have a lot of we have a very special guest that's going to be joining us today. He is the Vice President of FFL Skypoint, and he's been in Family First Life for a few years now, and he's definitely going to be sharing his story. But I got the chance to connect with him for the first time last year at convention, and then just over the years and over the months as we've all been growing and going in unity. He's just been someone who's super supportive. He's always in the Facebook group. He has the probably top 5 hair in all of Family First Life, and it's just an all-around great guy. He's a great dad, a great husband, and a great leader. So, Steven, appreciate you hopping on the call today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you guys for having me. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear. So if you guys are excited to learn from Steven Yee, go ahead and drop an SY in the comments below so we could see just how many people want some golden nuggets. We got a lot of golden nuggets from Steven. Okay, cool.
There's going to be McDonald's in this today, man. We're going to drop a lot of golden nuggets. We'll see.
Dropping the nuggets. We love that. We got to get the pickaxe out because it's going to be a lot. So make sure you guys have your notebooks ready. So Steven, first things first, man, congratulations on the growth of FFL Skypoint. Just especially this last year, it seems like really things have clicked in just the last 6 months. So how long have you been part of Family First Life now?
So I've been with Family First Life twice. I got my insurance career started here at Family First Life. I got started here in 2016. At the time I was 25, just playing around with life, not really taking anything seriously. And then I ended up taking a break from insurance period because I just didn't want to do anything. So I went into other sales positions or whatever it is. And then about 2 years ago, I came back and was like, all right, I've known Joe and Trey for 10 plus years. So I said, you know what, let's actually take this thing more seriously. And not only that, I saw where they were when I left to where they were at when I came back. And I was like, oh my gosh, they grew without me. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, let's put some time into this and actually put the pedal to the metal and actually try to write business. Because at the time I wasn't really interested in building a business because I had a wedding to pay for, right? I had a $40,000 bill that was going to be due in 3 months. And I was like, I had no idea how I was going to do it. So I was like, I'm just going to focus on writing business. And we, with the blessings here that we have, we were able to cover the wedding and more. And that's the reason why I love Family First Life, because it made me become an adult. You know what I mean? Like a lot of you guys are on the call, you guys are young, and I wish I was in your guys' positions because I wasn't this serious when I was your guys' age. And if I was, I'd be in so much further ahead in my life, but I'm still thankful for what it's been able to do for me and my family. So, no, man. And the other thing too, is before I get started with anything, and I'm talking to the guys that are on this call that I've only been here for like 30, 60, 90 days. You guys don't understand the type of leadership you have here. And I always tell people that you're not a prophet in your own backyard, because everybody goes, oh, we have access to Grady and Julius and Alex and Jen and Nina and Ashley and Jordan. Like you guys are supposed to be there. What they don't understand, and what some of you guys don't understand, is these are some of the best agents we have in the entire company, right? Like if I were to start all over again, I know you're recording this, but don't send it to Trey or Joe. But if I was starting all over again, I would get started with Family First Life America. That's just me being 100% honest with you guys. So, but shoot, man, whatever I can help you with, let me know.
Awesome. Well, definitely appreciate the vote of confidence there. We don't take it lightly, especially seeing the growth that I'm sure you've seen since 2016. So I want to back up real quick, and maybe I'm jumping ahead, but you said you've known Joe and Trey personally for 10 years, 15 years?
10, 12 years, yeah.
Okay. So when you came in 2016 and then left before you came back again more seriously, and you said you saw the growth that they had, how did you stay involved with them or see? Because there's a lot of people that maybe are dripping on their friends or family or people that they know, and maybe they're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. No doesn't mean no, it just means not right now. So as someone who was on the outside looking in, how did they keep you engaged enough to see months down the road that this maybe was the opportunity to take more seriously?
They just checked in. It was really that simple. It wasn't like they were trying to quote unquote recruit me to come back or whatever. They're just, Trey's very passive and he's a very nice guy. So he would just shoot me a text once in a while and be like, hey man, how's it going? How's everything with life? And, hey, if you want, let's go get around the golf here and there, whatever it is. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. But I never really took it seriously. And they never really bragged about what they were doing. And that's just who they were. So when I decided to come back, I remember going to the office and sitting down with them. And at the time, Trey had just crossed VP. And Joe was like basically flirting around. At the time, there was no such thing as senior sales manager, but that's where he was. And so I was kind of like, whoa, in a year, you quadrupled. Like that was pretty crazy. So I was kind of like, oh, I'm missing out. So what do I need to do? And let me just put my head down and work. So it was funny because I went to a training that I didn't want to go to. And, being in the businesses and the network marketing companies or whatever I've been in, I vividly remember this. It was March 1st. It was in Victorville. And they held a meeting and there was probably only like 25 people in there, right? And I'm sitting in the front row because that's where you should be sitting if you can.
That's right.
And I literally remember sitting there, and I'm not trying to be rude, but I was like, there's no way in hell that I can't do it. You know what I mean? I was like, I should be able to do that. So, but that's how I came back. That's how they followed up with me. And that's how I got back into the company.
Okay. So was there a Facebook group back then or no? No. Okay. So it was literally just them personally reaching out and caring enough about you to do that. And if the same thing had happened today, I'm sure on top of that, you probably also would have been in the Facebook group. That way you can kind of be watching stuff along the way, right? Yep. Okay, cool. So just quick tip for anyone out there. If you got someone who's interested, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, maybe not, get them in the Facebook group. And it also sounds like Joe and Trey, they were leading by example, because in a year to go and quadruple in volume, they were still so new, that was a huge deal. And if they weren't leading by example, if they had fallen off the wayside, if they weren't really involved, then you wouldn't be here today. Is that correct?
Yep. And see, the other thing too is for all the new people in here that might think they're so far behind the 8 ball, you're not. Think about that. There was no such thing as the Rogue IMO. There was no BDMs. There was no online webinars. There was none of that. So like hiring back then was like pulling teeth. Right now, the reason why you guys and everybody here at Family First Life is growing like crazy is because all the infrastructure is set in place. You just got to plug in.
Yep.
You see what I mean? Like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The wheel has been invented and it's rolling. You know what I mean? So it's the best time to get started is literally right now. And it's because, someone that's brand new, they don't have to do the presentation. They can send someone to the Rogue IMO or they can send it to the BDMs that we have on Facebook Live. You don't have to know it all. You just got to be able to point somewhere. That's the best part about what we're doing nowadays.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that because that's huge. Because, trying to think back to when I first started in insurance, you first started in insurance, a lot of new agents on the call in the first 90 days, it could be very overwhelming trying to not only learn all the material for the license, but then also learn what we need to do in order to go out there and sell consistently. And what you just said is, hey, you don't have to be an expert. You could just plug in and point to the systems. And so, like, what are 2 or 3 of your top favorite resources that you're using with your team now? And it doesn't have to be like a specific team training site, but what videos or what content are you making sure that every single new agent on your team is watching and plugging into? That way for the new person who's like, help me, where do I go? Where would you recommend that they go and plug into?
So there's only 2 things that people need to be, for me, when we hire agents and when we teach agents, there's only 2 things that they need to know. Number 1 is they need to know the Rogue IMO if they want to hire, right? So like when I got started,
Can I cut you off real quick? I'm going to cut you off. If you guys have never met Steven in person, but you've heard the Rogue IMO video, this is the voice of the Rogue IMO video. So you guys are like, we're talking to a real life celebrity here. So no, sorry to cut you off, but just a lot of people maybe are just kind of like saying, where have I heard that voice before? So I just wanted to kind of interject that. So go ahead.
So the thing is with the Rogue IMO, I developed that video for a reason because we have a bunch of new agents that wouldn't be able to do the presentation. So it's like, how easy would it be? Because like when I got started, I never wanted to do anything by myself. It's kind of like going to the gym, right? I won't go to the gym by myself because I have no accountability on that. But if I got started with a buddy of mine and we both went together, it's so much easier because if I didn't go, I let him down. If he didn't go, he let me down. And therefore we kind of obligate ourselves to be successful, right? That's how I treated insurance. So I didn't want to do insurance by myself. So naturally, I called the two people that I like the most and I said, hey, you're getting your insurance license with me. And this is what the company can do. Da 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 da. Send the video to them. You know what I mean? That's what I would suggest all the brand new agents on the call. There's things that there's things what I call is like it's like you got to go through the suck, right? There's a learning curve. There's things that aren't necessarily fun in the beginning, but once you get over it, it becomes successful. Like lifting weights sucks, in my opinion. Nobody just wants to throw barbells on the bar and just start pumping it over your head. Like that sucks. But if you want to be healthy, if you want to be successful, if you want to burn fat and get muscle, you have to do it. You see what I mean? It's the same thing in this business. So for me, that was number one thing is one of my tools, and one of the tools is if you want to hire that video. Number two, boot camp. Because there's no reason why I'm going to sit there and train someone on how to dial, how to do the in-home, how to do any of that when I can just point to a tool. Because the guys that are on there doing the information, and I've seen your guys' stuff, you guys are amazing, right? Like, why would I do the in-home presentation when I have Grady or Andrew or Paul to point to? It just wouldn't make any sense. You see what I mean? So those are the two tools that we use single-handedly to build our agency, the Rogue IMO and, the boot camp, and it goes hand in hand. So it's like, hey, you want to be a top producer? Boot camp. Hey, you want to be an agency manager? FFO Rogue IMO. And they just literally go hand in hand. That's the reason. That's how simple it is. It's not deeper than that. You know what I mean? People go, hey, how do I become a top agent and hire? Shoot them a link.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and so like if you're still studying for your license, pass your license first, get your license, knock that out in 2 weeks or less. But afterwards, I agree, it literally is that simple where, hey, you want to build an agency and hire and you have someone to talk to. How hard is it to go, hey, Steve, just got started in the insurance industry. I'm really excited about it, and I'm working with a lot of people that are doing very well. I thought that you'd be pretty good at it. If I sent you a video that kind of explained it, would you check it out?
Yep.
How hard is that? Anyone can do that. And then the video is going to be all your credibility. And then when they come back to you afterwards and they say, I'm an A person or I'm a B person, awesome. Like I just mentioned, Steve, I'm still pretty new to this, but I'm going to get you on the phone with my manager, Jordan. And he's one of the guys in the video that they were talking about, and he'll be able to kind of explain everything that he's built in the last 18 months and answer your questions. Is that okay? Is that okay with you, Steve?
Yes, sir.
And how hard is that? And so you're leveraging the credibility of the video, and you're leveraging the credibility of a manager until eventually you have your own story, and then fast forward 90 days and you'll be doing that for your agents as well. So, okay.
Correct. So I wanted to piggyback on that too, right? So like this is a recruiting tip, and this is a philosophy that I learned when I was 18 and it still works to this day. So every single one of your friends that they're either a 1-5 or a 10. Okay. So we're all 5s, which basically mean we're right in the middle of our friends. And there's 10s, which basically mean there's the people that we look up to. Like Andrew Taylor's and Grady is someone that I look up to. They are for sure a 10 in my book, right? And then there's 1s, like people that we can tell them to do something and they're going to do it just because they want to be our friend in a weird way. Like I always say, like, how let's say it's midnight and you're like hungry and you go say, Alex, we're going to go grab Denny's right now. And you're like, let's do it. Those are your 1s, right? Your 5s are like the peers that are at your level. And then there's 10s, which is people that you look up to. I'm going to show you how to recruit these 3 types of people right now. Okay. So with 1s, kind of like how I talked to you guys about earlier, when I got started in insurance, I hired my 2 friends. They were peers, but they did what I wanted to do. Like we all had the same interests. So I would say, hey, Alex, you're going to get your insurance license with me. And you're like, cool. Like no pushback, nothing. They're going to do it. Right.
So those are the ones.
Those are the ones. Okay. You tell them what to do. It's really simple. Hey, you're going to get your insurance license. And that's that. So that's how you recruit your 1s. With your 10s, most people go, oh my gosh, they're so successful. Therefore, they're the hardest people to recruit. They're actually not. They're actually the easiest people to recruit besides the 1s. Let me tell you why. If Grady was, let's say, my brother-in-law or something, right? And I looked up to him because he's big time, real estate agent, and I'm some nobody, right? All I would do is fluff his ego. I would say, hey, Grady, I know you're super successful. You built such a great thing for your family. I recently just got started with something. Can you do me a favor? I respect your opinion because you're so successful. Would you watch this video and tell me what you think about it, please? What do you think he's going to say?
Oh,
I just fluffed
Steven,
his,
I'd be, for you, Steven, I would do that. Yeah.
you see what I
I'll
mean?
help you out.
Of course. And I shoot him the Rogue IMO link, and then whatever he tells me, he tells me. See, the hardest people to recruit are the fives because they think they know you the best. They go, ah, man, that's Jordan. That's Alex. They're the guys that I used to drink with on Fridays or whatever. They know you for that person. They don't know you for 30, 40, 50K producer, Alex. You see what I mean? So those are the hardest people to hire. So the easiest way to hire your fives, in my opinion, is hire around them. So what I say is, let's say I wanted to hire you, Alex. I would say, hey, Alex, I recently just got started in this insurance business and it's been paying me really, really well. I know you're a stud, but who do you think can do this? Like, which one of your friends can do this?
You go right through them and they're like, right, what about me? Yeah.
And they'll say, what about me? Are you sure? Because, I know you know me and you don't think, you sure you want to take a look at it? All right, dude, here's a link. And that's how you recruit your fives. You recruit your fives indirectly. You see what I mean? And with your ones and your tens, you go direct. It's a very simple way to hire. Everybody that you know is either a 1-5 or a 10. And it's that simple. So if you know that, now you know how to approach them. That's how you can build your agency.
Well, I mean, that alone, we can end the call right there if we wanted to. And that alone is, from agency building standpoint, is clutch. Just 1-5 or 10. And then after they actually get plugged in, you put them into boot camp. And boot camp will do the training for you because, like you said, if you're a brand new agent, how are you going to train someone to do phone calls and in-homes? Why not use the boot camp that plugs people into training calls like this, or the TNL call, or the Monday call, or the Wednesday call, or the Saturday call? There's tons of training calls and videos, and instead of you having to be the expert and teach them, people ask me a lot, Alex, can we do a ride along? I'm just like, honestly, you probably don't want to learn from me. Let me show you this video. And I'll send them to the boot camp and show them the 2 or 3 videos because they're better than me. Like I don't want someone to try to learn from me if I know that there are people that are better. And especially for new agents, like, plug into people who have been doing this for 5-10 years. I would much rather learn from that person who has seen and done everything.
I'm going to share a story with you guys why Stephen Yee personally. Now, you talk to Trey. Trey's a big fan of ride-alongs. Stephen Yee, I hate him. I'll never do him, and I'll never take an agent in my car ever again. Okay. When I got started, I went on a ride-along. I went on a ride-along with Andrew Taylor. And Andrew was so good that he had 6 appointments that day. He closed all 6 of them in less than 25 minutes. I literally sat there and said, I'm going to be so rich doing this, because I was like, this is so easy, right? Everybody that I've talked to and everybody that knows my story, my first 14 appointments, I went 0 for 14. I went 0 for 14 because I saw how Andrew did it. So I try to be like Andrew. Well, guess what? I'm not Andrew. I don't know the stuff that he knows. And not only that, he knew how to read people. He knew the products. I didn't know any of that. So me trying to be like Andrew ended up actually hurting my business because Andrew didn't call anybody from the home because he didn't need to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I was brand new. I didn't know what I was doing. So therefore, like, that part of the ride along hurt me. And what ended up happening too was I ended up taking my buddy out in the car and he was like, dude, I want to get started in insurance. Do you mind if I have like a ride along? But he called it like on the job training, right? I was like, sure, why not? So like I ran 2 days in the field. I had 12 appointments and I went 0 for 12 that weekend. Right. I mean, and what they don't understand is they don't understand that the numbers always work out and they can't account for how good I am versus how good they will be.
Yeah.
Right. Because if I went 6 for 6 that day, he would have had an Andrew moment. If I went 0 for 12 like I did, he would be like, insurance doesn't work. And you can't account for that. That's the reason why.
Too many random factors. Yeah.
Correct. And then that's the reason why there's too many uncontrols and I'm not doing it. So that's just my
plug into training, plug into boot camp. That should be the training you need. So, okay. So let's get a little bit into some content. I'm going to kind of break this down into 3 main areas that, from a writing 20K a month standpoint, I think it kind of breaks down to 3 main areas. 1 is leads, 2 is dialing, and then 3 is the in-home. So if you guys are on this call, drop a leads in the comment. If you want to learn a little bit about Steven's lead flow and how he trains his people to do the lead flow to make sure that, you can actually kind of write the goals. And so let's talk about how you'd work the leads portion.
So the leads portion is real simple. And one of the things that I'm trying to get people to understand right now is run everything, right? So all leads are good leads. Like when I got started, I used to run old leads. I call it old lead gold leads because they're gold, because nobody's contacting them. And if you can get in, they're so inexpensive, you can get a ton of premium and it pays for the batch itself and more, right? So I always blend. I never just say, hey, stick with one lead vendor, right? I always say, get multiple lead vendors and get it all. So like we were just talking to a few new agents right before I got on here, and they were struggling. And the guy said, I run about 6, 7, 9 appointments a week. And I was like, okay, what does your lead flow look like? And he goes, I only buy from Leadrilla. And I'm like, well, there's your problem. But if you bought from Leadrilla, Lead Guru, Social Insurance, Mail Pro, their Facebook leads, Pro Digital, and you blend it with everybody, it's a lot easier because now it's a numbers game.
I agree.
Here's the reason why. If you have 60, 80 to 100 leads that come in this week, and let's say I'm booking appointments with you, and if I called you and you were very fishy, like, do you have to come? I don't remember what I filled out. If I only bought 20 or 30 leads, guess what I have to do? I have to book that appointment. I need the numbers to sway in my favor. You see what I mean? If I have 100 leads, I'll book that appointment at, let's just say 10. But if I have another client that's way more solid than you, I'm booking that person at 10 and they want the 10 o'clock slot. I'm going to go see the more solid client. What ends up happening is the same 20 appointments that you're supposed to sit on, because the number's the same, or 25, 30, whatever you guys run.
Yep.
The people know you're coming and they know that they're buying. So my biggest thing is lead flow is a big thing. Paul McLean always says lead flow is cash flow. I always tell people constant lead flow is constant cash flow, because you have agents that buy $1,000 or $2,000 worth of leads during the first week and then they don't buy anything else for the rest of the month. That's not how it works. Nope. It's a constant 1,000 a week.
I agree with everything you just said. And one thing when it comes to leads, old leads or gold leads, I like that because so many people just have the expectation that because we're working leads, that every single person we call is just waiting by the phone all day and saying, oh, I was just waiting for you to call, come right on over. And it just doesn't work that way, which is why which is why we have training on that, how to overcome objections and everything. But two, especially when you're a new agent, it's practice.
Yep.
Like you're going to be getting objections anyway. So if you can get 50, 60, 70, 80 CRM leads versus just 20, 30 Facebook leads, you're going to get a lot more practice working with the same objections over and over again. And it's going to shorten your learning curve.
Correct.
Like if you can learn everything, phone script, everything hypothetically, which obviously there's always more to learn, but hypothetically, if you can learn everything you needed with 200 leads, dialing 200 leads, would you buy 20 leads a week or would you buy 100 leads a week?
100.
Well, 100 leads a week, you would be done with your learning curve in 2 weeks.
Correct.
20 leads a week, that same thing takes you 2.5 months.
Correct.
So it's not a bad thing to get some rejection on the phone and get some objections, as long as you're learning from it. You don't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. So, when it comes to, go ahead.
Let me say this though, and this is a nugget, this changed my business 2 months ago. And this is why we're all on the same team. We're on Sean Mike's team. So I'm going to share with you everything that I can to help you guys grow. Right. So we got to this agency building thing where I was like, I'm this person now, I'm VP, and Brandon is this, and he has his own agents. And so I'm expecting Brandon to train his agents and that guy to train his own agent. And I'm I lose a lot of what I know. Right. So it's filtered information. If I told you something and then you told Julius and then Julius told Jordan, that information gets filtered. What Jordan gets is not what I told you. You see what I mean? Yeah. So what ended up happening was I met one of Brandon's agents in our office in Rancho, and in one of my buddies' office in Rancho, and he had a new agent. And he was like, oh, this guy's ready to smash the phones. I went through his phone script and it's killer. So then I got there and I met with the guy and I say, all right, man, call me. I'm a client. And he starts freaking out. Do I have to do it? Yeah, you do. So he's like, okay. So he starts going through the phone script and he goes, hey, Steven, hey, this is so-and-so, full name. And he goes, I'm calling from the Social Security office. I was like, stop right there. Dude, that is so illegal. And just, hey, we got to fix it. And then we started actually trimming his phone script. And what I ended up noticing was a lot of people don't actually know that it's not really a script, it's just structure. Like the first part of the phone is just introducing who you are. The second part is, verifying information. The third part is booking the appointment. And the last part is confirming and hanging up.
Yep.
There's only 4 pieces to the phone script. And it's the same for mortgage, final expense, internet leads. It don't matter. It's the same no matter what. And what ended up happening was in a 20-minute period of time where we just worked on his phone script in terms of structuring, in my opinion, his phone script went like 1,000 times better.
Good.
And there's only like 5 objections on the phone, in my opinion. Don't come over. I already have it. I don't remember filling it out. And whatever else they can give you. I'm too busy, I'm not interested, whatever it is. There's only that many objections. So like one of the things that we ended up teaching in our organization was, hey, we're going to role play before you actually dial the real thing. Because here's the thing, Alex, if I hired you and I didn't role play with you and I just threw you on leads, like you said, let's say you bought 100 leads and you butchered the first 35 of them because you were saying the wrong information, you just hurt your business, quote unquote. Rather than for me, it's kind of like I coach high school basketball. I'm not going to just bring a kid in and throw him in the game. I want him to go through our practice to know what we do. So therefore, my practice with a new agent would be, hey, call me. I'm your client. Call me. And the first one is he's going to call me and it's going to be a smooth phone call so I can hear how he sounds. I can hear his tonality. If he's too happy or he's too sad, I want him right in the middle, right? If he's talking too fast, too slow, whatever it is, I get to hear all that before I throw him in the real thing, right? And then the second call, third call is I get to throw some objections at him to see how he handles it. What I've realized was once you start role playing with people for like 5 minutes and just getting them, you actually get to hear what they sound like before they get on the phones.
Mm-hmm.
They actually book a lot more when they get on the phones because they're like, oh yeah, Steve just told me he's not interested. And I responded with this.
Yep.
Instead
Okay.
of saying,
So,
I'm not
so
interested.
speaking of that, so
I don't know what to do.
there was like 1,000 gold nuggets there. So I want to make sure that don't miss anything. So for someone who's taking notes, the 4 parts of every phone script that I heard was let them know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was confirm the info.
Yep.
And what was the third one?
Third one is schedule the appointment.
Okay.
And the last one is confirm I call it triple confirmation and then hang it up. So like, it sounds something like this. Like part 1 would be like, Alex, this is Steven calling from the Senior Benefit Center in, Phoenix. Getting back to you about the form you sent back in on Facebook where it said your favorite hobby was basketball. That's intro, right? Part 2 is, hey, my job is real simple. I just got to verify the information you put down. Looks like your date of birth is January 1st, 1950. Is that right?
That's right. And that's the first time they talk as well.
Correct.
You don't let them, you're not asking them a question. Basketball, is that right? No.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? No, I don't. Click.
Yeah.
So that's the first time they talk. So let's back up and do the role play all the way through just like you would with an agent. So let's pretend that you're booking me.
Correct.
That way people can hear your tonality and everything. And then we'll go back at the end and kind of break down why you said and why you did the things you did. So
correct. So part 1 of every phone call is introduction, right? So I never say hello or how are you, by the way.
Literally just book me. Right now, just book me like I'm a Facebook final expense lead, and then we'll go back.
Awesome. So, Alex?
Yeah, who's this?
Alex, this is Steven. Getting back to you from the Senior Benefit Center about the form you sent back in on Facebook. Said your favorite hobby was basketball. My job is real simple. Just got to verify the information you put down. Looks like your date of birth is January 1st, 1950. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And the address that I have listed for you is 1234 Main Street in Phoenix, Arizona?
Yep, that's my place.
Awesome. Hey, are you currently working or are you still retired?
No, I'm on disability.
You're on disability. Perfect. No big deal. My job is real simple. They had me dispatched in your area this upcoming Friday. What works better for you, morning or afternoons?
Why are you coming out again? What is this for?
It's real simple. My job is to be able to deliver the information that you requested. We got to make sure that you're not in a hospital bed or you're like 400 pounds or whatever it is. So I'm actually in your area this upcoming Friday. What works better for you, Monday morning or afternoon?
I got a doctor's in the morning, so afternoon.
Okay. Perfect. 12 or 2?
I won't be home until like 1, so 2.
2 sounds good. Do me a favor, Alex. Can you grab a pen and paper, please?
All right, give me just 1 second.
Yep, take your time.
All right, I'm ready.
Perfect. Alex, my name is Steven. I'm coming over tomorrow to show you the benefits for your final expenses. The confirmation code is going to be FFL 8J3.
8J3. Okay, got it.
And it's going to be for tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Okay, got it.
Sounds good, Alex. I'll see you tomorrow at 2. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you.
Click.
Cool. So let's go back a little bit and kind of work on some things there. Super straightforward. You know, you weren't trying to be their friend on the phone.
Never.
You know, is that usually the speed you talk as well, or do you talk a little bit slower for seniors?
So what I've noticed, this is talk about crazy. I used to time my calls. So like mortgage protection was like 237 was an average call time, which is, I know, why do I know that, right? And then final expense was like 152 was like the average call time. And because if I was on the phone any longer, they're asking me too many questions.
Yeah.
If I was on the phone too short, they might not know I'm coming. So like my sweet spot was about a minute and a half to about
2 minutes to 2:45 should be what people are shooting for. Okay.
So, and I'm very direct. And the reason why I call it triple confirming is because number one, I let you pick the appointment time, right? I'm in your area this upcoming Friday. What works better for you, morning or afternoon? I only give them options. I don't give them, I don't let you tell me morning or afternoon. You said afternoon. Perfect. 12 or 2. 2. You chose that, right? So then what I do is you book the appointment. And then number 2, I told you to grab a pen. Now you wrote the appointment down. And then after you wrote it down, I said, perfect. I'm going to see you tomorrow at 2. I set the appointment time 3 times. If I get no-showed, it's because you didn't want to see me.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of new agents, they just get the appointment time once and they're like, oh, I got an appointment. And then they get off the phone quickly. And then what happens is when you hang up, the client goes, what did I just book the appointment for? And they're not going to be there. They're like, oh, he's going to be here at 2. Perfect. I'm not going to be home at 2.
I'm going to go to the groceries at 1:45. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Cool. So let's book an age lead. So on the CRM, are you typically doing final expense, mortgage? What are you typically booking on CRM?
Anything. But here's the thing, like with age leads, it's the same thing. The only line that I add,
yeah.
It's the same thing. The only line that I add is, hey, your file came to my table and it looks like nobody got hold of you. So my job is just to verify the information. And I go right back into the script.
But Steven, I already have that taken care of.
Perfect. No big deal because it didn't look like anybody closed it out. I got to stop by and get your signature.
It literally is no big deal. Like whatever they say, it's no big deal. That's perfect.
Not a big deal.
That's what I was calling.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want you to come by. Perfect. I don't want to see you either, but it's not worth me losing my job over you, and I don't even know you. So what works better, Friday at 2 or Friday at 4?
Solid.
Solid. And here's the thing that I tell people, right? Like I rather an agent be so good on the phone and be like mediocre and average in the home than someone that hates the phone and be a killer salesman. Because the killer salesman is not going to be able to show his skills because he can't get in the home to begin with.
Yeah.
Guy that's
going to product expert, right? The person who spends weeks trying to learn the products, and it's like, bro, let me hear your phone script. Like that's great that you know about Rider 74-A, but like I don't even know what that is, and you don't even know the first 3 lines of the phone script.
Correct.
So,
yeah. So for me, my I always tell people, like I watched Andrew do it. He always told me to have fun on the phones. Like I remember watching Andrew call a guy 10 times, and I was like, dude, that's like obsessive. Like that's too much. And then he said, when the guy answered on the 10th call, guy literally flat out said, dude, why are you calling me? He goes, hey, our company policy is that we have to call you 10 times. I figured I might as well call you 10 times in a row today than to break it down 10 different days. So, hey, since I have you on the phone, boom, right into the script. And I was like, that was gold. You know what I mean? And Andrew was like, have fun with it.
Yeah. Another tip I've heard is meet them where they're at. So if you're calling them that 3rd, 4th, 5th time, they're like, hello? You're like, Steve?
Yeah.
Like, right back out instead of you're just not like, Steve. If they're yelling at you, you're not going to be all quiet like that. So.
Correct. So mirror match, like if you speak with an older lady, if she answers the phone, she's like, hello. I'm be like, Joan, this is Steven. I'm getting back to you from the Senior Benefit Center about the form you sent back in. Mirror match.
We get a lot of those in Texas.
Yeah.
Cool.
So here, like you talk about having fun with it, right? Here's a trivial story. My first appointment that I sold ever was an appointment that Andrew gave me that it was literally closer to my house and it was a dial day, and we never really sell on dial days. So I was in the office, in the Victorville office, and I hear him. He's in the next room over. And I was dialing with this other gal, and she was Hispanic. And dude, no joke. Andrew goes, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to deliver the information, but I have two choices for you. One of the agents that's coming over looks like J-Lo, and the other one looks like Jeremy Lin. Which one do you want to come over?" And no joke, the guy goes, "Hell no, send me J-Lo." And then he goes, "I can't promise you that. We'll just have someone show up to the door, right?" I get there. The guy opens the door and he goes, "Oh, man, it's you, the Jeremy Lin looking one." And I literally laughed because I was like, he really remembered that. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm saying, like, have fun on the phone, because it should be light. It shouldn't be like a serious conversation. You shouldn't feel like you're going to kill somebody because they don't want to see you. It should be pretty funny. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying, like, have fun with the phone script. It shouldn't be a script. It's like a structure.
Yeah, I think the only time that you should have fun like that, right, where maybe you want to break the mold, is the cementing at the very end, just to get them to remember you. Because if you're trying to like crack a joke with them in the first 10 seconds, they're not going to take you seriously. A lot easier to hang up on you. So at the very end, like something I've heard, Zach Lawnfuls, I don't know how you say his last name, but when he does his live dials, every single appointment, he's got kind of a country accent. Every single appointment, and just, I'm driving a white car, so when you see a guy get out of a white car walk into your door, you can put the shotgun away. It's just me. I'm pretty harmless, okay? And he says it just like that, and they always laugh. So, so that would be the time to say something memorable about how you look, make fun of your appearance, something like that, so they remember you. So, okay.
Dude, Andrew used to tell him that he looked like Brad Pitt. I mean, no BS. You can ask him. Yeah, he said, I look like Brad Pitt, so when I pull up to your door, just know that's me. And I was like, I look like Brad Pitt, but whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a way for them to remember and to get in the door. So that's the reason
I usually tell people I drive a white car. I'm tall, blonde, and a little clumsy. So if you see me trip over my shoe, it's me.
There you go.
I usually say that, and then they kind of laugh, just making fun of myself, show them that I'm human too.
Yep.
If there was any sales pressure there, if they were like worried about me coming over, okay, what's some harmless, clumsy guy tripping over a shoe?
Exactly.
All right, see you. So cool. So we went over lead flow, we went over phone scripts, we went over a couple objections, which is great. So as a new agent, a lot of what we teach our team, maybe you do the same thing or something different. I'm curious to hear your opinion on this. We teach all our new agents for your first 10 appointments. You do the financial inventory, and then you call your manager. Because you're not supposed to be an expert right away day one. You're not supposed to know every product, exactly where to put them, all hydrochlorothiazide and amlodipine and hydrocodone, and you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to pronounce these, much less know which product I can give them, right? And so you do your financial inventory, and you look things over, and you look at the inventory, you look at them, you go, all right, Steven, well, you're kind of on the fence with a couple of different things. I've got a good idea of what direction we should be looking at for you, but I'm going to double check with my senior field underwriter. Just give him a call real quick, make sure we put you in the best position. Give me just a moment. And then you call your manager. Do you guys do something similar? Would you change anything?
Very similar. Sometimes what I do is I have the agent take a picture of the financial inventory and send it to me, because they don't know how to say the drug names, right? So I rather look at it. The other thing is I rather have them take a picture of it to show me too, because if let's say metformin and then they spell it completely wrong, I'm like, you didn't grab the name off the bottle. Like, you just took it off of what they said. I want my agents to actually go get the bottle and write the name of the medications, because then, there's drugs that can be like glypiride and glimepiride. Those are two separate medications. You see what I mean? So I'm like, I want you to actually I want to see if they're spelling it right, because that means they actually got the medications. Mm-hmm. And not only that, if they call me, I don't want to hear them tell me the meds. I rather just look at the meds and be like, perfect, go put them through Eagle.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to be sitting there for 5 minutes as they're reading it out. And you already know which direction they're going to go, because we've done this so often. And you're just like, and they butcher another one, and they butcher another one, and all their credibility is going out the door. So I agree. Okay. I like that. And also it helps establish as well that doctor-patient relationship. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, like for me, one of my problems when I first started is I'm too friendly, I'm too nice. So I would try to be their friend in the home. Mm-hmm. And friends cancel on friends, right? You're getting dressed up to go out on a Friday night at 7:00, and you just showered and you got your good outfit on, and you get a text from your friend saying, hey, we're just going to cancel tonight, not feeling well, sorry. Friends cancel on friends all the time. Mm-hmm. But if you're really busy, because on the phones, hey, I'm seeing a lot of people in the area, can't stay long, got me seeing like a dozen families tomorrow. so I've only got 20 minutes. People want to be with the busy person, right?
Mhm.
You're trying to book a surgery and you got the doctor who's available tomorrow, or the doctor who's all booked out for 3 weeks. You want the doctor who's booked out for 3 weeks. So it just kind of builds a little bit of that credibility for you. And so when you go in the home, and if all you were good at as a new agent was just taking control in the first 5 minutes of, hey, do you want my shoes on or off? Awesome. Do you have a table we could sit at? Great. Mary, you go ahead and sit here, and I'll go ahead and sit right here. That's great. And then as you're pulling your stuff out, you're all right. So, so you're taking control, showing them all the companies we work with, tell them today, we're going to fill out this whole sheet. This will give me a good idea of which options may or may not be best for you. We're gonna get something submitted today to see what you can qualify for. And then all you do is fill out a sheet and you call your senior field underwriter. If you can get good at that, which is all in boot camp, by the way, if you're sitting there as a new person, like, that's all in boot camp. All that training's in boot camp. If you can get good at just that first 5 to 8 minutes, then you get your senior field underwriter on the home. Like, I remember I would be in the home and I'd have Grady on the phone, and like he would literally be telling me what to say in my ear. It's almost like having like a little chip in the ear.
Yeah, yep.
And I'm just like asking what their A1C was. And I'm like, what was your last A1C? And then 8.5. Whatever they say, just go, And then they say something and I would go, And like literally, it's almost like a chip in the ear, but it sounds crazy, but it works. And it builds your credibility. And it asks them what their last blood pressure reading was. Whatever it is, go, ooh.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? And that's what you do as a new agent to give you a little bit of confidence in the home, as well as making sure you're putting them in the right position. That way, someone who just takes one hypertension medication, you're not trying to write AIG or a guaranteed issue product. You're making sure you actually are doing what's best for the client and for yourself as well. So, any other in-home tips, whether you're a new agent or whether you're an experienced, actually, we talked a lot about the new agents, experienced agent. Guys, drop a 70 in the comments below if you guys want to hear some of Steven's lines in the home and how he takes control in the home and how he cements policies, because that's something I don't think we talk enough about.
So I'll share
over 2 to 5 minutes, kind of talk a little bit about your in-home structure.
So I always say this, right? Your in-home is a show. It's a Broadway show. It really is, because it's the same every time. The only thing that's different is your audience. You see what I mean? So regardless of how I feel that day, or regardless of how the previous client was, whether I sold them or I got no showed, it don't matter. The next client is going to get 100% the best of me, as if it was a show. When I walk into a client's house, I basically show them my ID and my state license. After that, I basically take it back. This is the lead form that you sent back, or this is the card you sent back in. This is what we received in the mail. Is that your handwriting or your wife's? Perfect. Awesome. Great. Financial inventory. And I start collecting data. All you got to be really good at, and this is for new agents, the only thing you got to be really good at is being able to read, because the question's already written out. Name, age, occupation, monthly income, life insurance, for like you're reading. You're not really, you're asking a question, but it's already listed out for you, right? And then what happens after that is once I gather a few different options, I basically lay out 3 different options and I explain to them the process. Hey, my job is real simple. Today, we're just here to see if you qualify or do not qualify for a product. If you qualify for a product, I'm going to show you 3 different options. After those 3 options, you can apply for coverage or you can decline coverage. If you decline the coverage, this form right here basically says you have to decline the coverage. You just initial our notes so that we're not liable. If you died and you lose your house to the bank, it's not on us. But if you apply for coverage, it's really simple. We run you through a pre-check. One of the companies that we like to use, on the first signature will tell us if you're possibly approved or not. After that, we'll gather some more information. And in the first 30 days, you can either increase coverage or lower it. If you don't like something, then you can replace it. We don't ever say cancel. So therefore, I always say, like, let's say, I show a 300 option, a 200 option, and a 100 option, right? And I'm like, so what that basically means is, because I'm so good, and I always do it like that. I'm like, because I'm so good, I might make you spend $300, but I don't want you to. So therefore, after I leave, you go, I can't afford it. Let's drop it down to the $200 one. Or you might spend the $100 ones because it's in your budget right now, but you sleep on it and you go, you know what? I could afford the 200. And you call me, we can increase it within 30 days. Or you can replace the entire option, which is, I don't want the 300 or the 100. We'll get the middle one. Does that kind of make sense, John? Yes, it does. Perfect. So after that, the only thing I need is your driver's license to run that pre-check, and we start the process and see if you get pre-approved. So I speak it in terms of like, kind of like buying a house. In order for you to buy a house, you got to get pre-approved for a loan first. That loan amount determines which houses you can look
And
for.
your pre-approval is the Americo prescription check
Correct. 100% all the time.
all the
America
time.
is the
So even
only.
if someone so obviously there is gray area and not going to do anything that America wouldn't condone or anything, but unless they're clearly not
If the
America,
guy was on
you would want
dialysis, I'm not putting him through America because we
okay.
know that's not going to go through, right? But let's say he's on 2 heart medications. I'm going to be like, hey, you're in a very unique situation, Alex. The reason why I say that is because most of the time this could go through, but there's times where it doesn't. So before I even show you the options, what we're going to do is we're going to fill out the basic information and have them run the prescription check. If it flies, and I say that word, if it flies and we're good, then I'll show you the options. If it doesn't, it basically means that we have to go somewhere else.
Cool. I do the exact same thing. Yeah. In the very beginning, what I would do is I would get all the prescriptions. If I was kind of unsure, I would show them 3 quotes from Americo, and then they'd pick one. We get into the EAP decline. And now you're like trying to like circle back, and all of a sudden you're showing them the next company, and the prices aren't as good, or it doesn't have all the living benefits, and there's like, I kind of wanted that first one you showed me. So
Exactly.
it's good you don't show all your cards up front. You get that financial inventory, you can call your manager, or if you're past the point of calling your manager, then you just set them up for that pre-check. I call it a pre-check, pre-qualify. I like it. And the whole idea is you explain to them, hey, in the first 5 minutes, we're going to have a good idea. The way I even say it is, hey, this company, they don't let us look at quotes until they do the prescription check.
Correct. Because
what they don't want to do, since this is such a good company, is they don't want to have you look at their prices and everything and get excited about them, and then you can't even qualify for it.
Correct.
And so we're going to set up that prescription check, and depending on what it comes back as, will let me know if I'm even allowed to show you the quotes for this company, or if we're going to look at a different option. Does that sound fair, Mary?
Yep.
Okay, so in order to set that up, I'm going to need your driver's license, and then who do you bank with?
Chase.
Chase. Okay, awesome. Just need one of those void checks or account statements, something with the account routing. Just they just need to validate you have a legit account. And I can just use a glass of water. I'm just a little thirsty. And I'm just going to set up that prescription check. Takes about 5 minutes. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So that's how I personally, same exact thing, send up the prescription check. That's how we transition from financial inventory, thinking that you could probably get Americo, or if we're unsure, we should do the prescription check in the first 5 minutes. That's how I do the transition. Sounds like you do something similar.
So I'm going to give you guys one more nugget too before we close out this call, because let's say you put someone through Eagle Premier and then it goes boom. Unfortunately, this client can only qualify for Americo Eagle Premier guaranteed up to 10,000 only, right? A rookie mistake would be to tell the client that they didn't qualify. Let me tell you why. I have a brand new agent. He's smashing it, dude. He's writing everybody Americo. And then what happens is when he doesn't get them through Americo, he goes to, carrier number 2 for us is Prosperity. So what happens is now he's like, oh, you didn't qualify for Americo. We got to go to Prosperity. And they're like, well, I don't want to go there. You see what I mean? What I do, and this is just for me, once I get that the pre-check and it doesn't allow them to go through, I go, perfect, no big deal. And I'm just talking to myself. I'm like, ooh, okay, interesting. And I just start the Prosperity app. And then what happens is once I close the Prosperity app, I go, hey, by the way, the insurance company that you're going to be insured with is Prosperity. You're going to get a letter from a company called Americo. It's going to say that we withdrew the application because you didn't qualify for the product. I tell them after they already gave me their banking information and they signed for the policy.
Yeah.
Because if you tell them ahead of time, they're going to be like, well, I don't want to go with somebody else.
Yep.
And now you just lost yourself a sale. So the way you pivot is a big deal too, because a lot of new agents, they talk too much.
Yep.
It's not about what you say. It's sometimes what you don't say,
and literally we don't know if they can qualify. Like we can't be promising these people the world if they don't know they can get it. So, okay. So to kind of wrap this up, because we got to get people back on the phones for dial day today. So 2 minutes real quick, talk to us a little bit about your goals as a personal producer and your goals as an agency, and any last tips for agents out there. Because you've been around now for, when did you come back? So you've been back since 2017, 18?
2.5 years, about 2.5 years.
So a lot of people, actually just about the only person on Grady's team that's been around that long is Grady.
Yeah.
Everyone else has been around less than that. So talk to us a little bit about the longevity of what you've seen over your 2.5 years of growth and why people should stick this out through the good times and bad.
It's really simple. In the beginning, you're going to have to make them in numbers what you like and skill. One thing is you continue the same activity and your numbers will go up naturally over the next few months, because what most people don't account for is that they get better, right? Yep. It's kind of like I tell kids, hey, shoot 500 shots a day and track how many you make. Well, the number in the beginning is not going to be the same as the number 5 months from now, because they should get better. You see what I mean? That's the thing is, I always tell people you have a learning curve to get through. That's the thing is what most people don't do is they don't bet on themselves enough. They're willing to let their friends or family or whoever it may be, or they compare their results to somebody else's result without knowing the backstory. The number one easiest way to lose yourself in this business is by comparing your numbers to somebody else. Everybody runs their own race. And as long as you cross the finish line, it doesn't matter. Sean has unlimited red jackets. So therefore, he doesn't go up in the beginning of the room, at the beginning of the year, and goes, hey, I only got 20 red jackets for Hall of Fame. You guys are racing for it. If there's 50 of them that cross Hall of Fame this year, Sean's going to get 50 jackets. It's really that simple, right? So we're not really running against each other. We're just running across a fictitious number. That's what we're trying to do. So my goals this year, UK Hall of Fame. I said that in the beginning of the year, and I was kind of like, I didn't know how I was going to get there. I think I'm going to probably get there by September. That's the plan. So we'll see.
Well, baby, we love that. So, hey, Stephen, man, really appreciate you hopping on. You guys, drop a thanks in the comments if you guys are grateful for Stephen today. And then we have over 100 people that stuck around to the very end. So kudos to all of you guys that didn't just use this as a box to check saying, yep, I logged in, I was there, actually stuck around the whole time.